At the age of 18, every person in the world was summoned to the Awakening Hall, where an ancient crystal determined their destiny. The strongest became legendary S-rank hunters, while the weakest were left behind forever. On that day, Zane Vale walked toward the crystal with hope in his eyes, while his family proudly watched from the crowd, believing he would awaken as a powerful hunter just like his older brother. But the moment his hand touched the crystal, everything changed. The hall trembled violently, the golden crystal turned completely black, and a strange symbol appeared that no one had ever seen before. Panic spread through the hall as the crystal suddenly exploded into thousands of glowing fragments. Seconds later, the giant screen displayed the impossible result. Name: Zane Vale. Rank: 0. Power: none. Silence filled the hall before the crowd burst into laughter. The officials announced that his awakening had failed, and that he possessed no detectable power. To everyone around him, rank 0 meant one thing. He was completely worthless. Even his own father looked at him with disappointment instead of pride. The dreams his family once had for him disappeared in a single moment. That night, when Zane returned home, hoping everything would be all right, he found his bag waiting outside the front door. Without hesitation, his father pointed toward the street and told him to leave. No one tried to stop him. His mother remained silent, and his brother simply looked away. Carrying only a small backpack and the rank 0 card in his pocket, Zane walked into the cold rain alone. Standing beneath the storm, he stared at the card one last time before closing his fist around it. Instead of crying or begging, he made a promise that would change his destiny forever. If the world believed he had no power, then he would create his own. From that day onward, he disappeared from everyone's sight. He trained until his body bled, pushed himself beyond every human limit, and survived countless hardships that would have broken an ordinary person. Years passed, and while the world forgot the boy known as Rank 0, Zane never abandoned his goal. Then, one lonely night inside an abandoned building, something impossible happened. A brilliant blue light appeared before him, forming a floating system unlike anything recorded in history. Ancient symbols covered the glowing screen as mechanical words echoed through the empty building. System activating. Host found: Zane Vale. Compatibility 100%. Rank 0. The final message slowly appeared before his eyes. Welcome, Zane Vale. The 0 system is now bound to you. At that exact moment, the weakest hunter in history unknowingly took his very first step toward becoming the most terrifying existence the world had ever seen. As the glowing interface finished initializing, Zane stood frozen in silence. Before him floated an impossible system containing his status, skills, quests, inventory, and countless mysteries. The world had abandoned him because of his rank 0, but this mysterious power had chosen him as its host. Hidden beneath that worthless rank was limitless potential. For the first time since losing everything, hope replaced despair. Looking at the blue screen, he whispered, "This is my second chance. And this time, I will become someone the world can never ignore." A new notification suddenly appeared before his eyes. Main quest, first step. Objective, survive inside the abandoned city for 7 days. Reward, 100 AXP and 500 coins. Failure, severe consequences. There was no turning back. Zane reached toward the glowing screen and pressed accept without hesitation. The quest had officially begun. At that very moment, he realized his life would never be the same again. Every decision from now on would decide whether he became stronger or disappeared forever. A brilliant blue light surrounded his body as another notification appeared. New skill unlocked. Basic body enhancement. Power rushed through every muscle, every bone, and every nerve in his body. His strength, speed, stamina, and recovery permanently increased. His exhausted body instantly felt lighter, stronger, and faster than ever before. Even years of pain and exhaustion seemed to disappear. It wasn't enough to make him invincible, but it was the first real step toward becoming a true hunter. Zane slowly clenched his fists as he felt real power flowing through his body for the very first time. Before he could fully understand what had happened, another blue window appeared. New skill acquired, Shadow Step. The skill allowed him to move through darkness with incredible speed while remaining almost impossible to detect. Silent, invisible, untouchable. The moment Zane pressed equip, countless combat instincts instantly filled his mind. Every shadow around him suddenly felt like part of his battlefield, and every movement became smoother than ever before. Then the system flashed once again, level up. A brilliant blue aura surrounded his body as every one of his attributes increased again. His senses became sharper, his movements smoother, and every heartbeat filled him with new confidence. He could clearly feel himself evolving beyond the limits of an ordinary human. This wasn't just another skill. It was the true beginning of his evolution. One final notification slowly appeared beneath the glowing screen. New mission unlocked. Survive and grow stronger. Reward. Wound. Zane slowly stood up and stared into the endless darkness outside the ruined building. The world had rejected rank 0, but the system had chosen him. From this moment onward, every battle, every dungeon, and every enemy would become another step toward unimaginable power. The legend of Zero had finally begun. As soon as Zane pressed OK, the system rewarded him with a brand new title, Seventh Hunter. A cold voice echoed inside his mind. You are not like the others. Walk your own path, and the world will one day know your name. For the first time, Zane realized the Zero system wasn't just giving him power, it was giving him a destiny that no ordinary hunter could ever achieve. From this moment on, every battle, every quest, and every decision would shape the future of the mysterious rank 0 hunter. He had finally taken the first step on a path that no one in history had ever walked before. Before he could fully understand those words, another blue screen appeared before his eyes. First trial activated. Objective: enter the abandoned subway in District 7 and survive until sunrise. The difficulty was marked unknown, while the final reward remained hidden behind question marks. There was no guarantee of survival, but Zane didn't hesitate for even a second. He calmly pressed accept, knowing that true strength could never be gained without risking his life. Whatever was waiting inside, he was ready to face it. The following morning, Zane arrived at the Hunter Guild searching for work. A dungeon party desperately needed one final member before the gate could open. The moment they noticed his rank 0 card, several hunters burst into laughter. Rank 0? Completely useless. He's just dead weight. One of them even laughed and said, he probably won't survive 5 minutes inside. But the team's leader looked at the countdown timer and sighed. We don't have time to find anyone else. We only need a 7th member. Bring him along. Zane quietly slipped his rank card back into his pocket and joined the team without saying a single word. He had already grown used to people's insults. One day, he would let his actions speak instead of his words. Soon, the 7 hunters stood before the entrance of the Crystal Abyss, a dangerous B-rank dungeon. Blue crystals illuminated the enormous cavern, while the massive gate pulsed with mysterious energy. Everyone checked their weapons, armor, and supplies one last time before entering. The atmosphere grew heavier with every passing second. Zane silently stared at the entrance. For some reason, it felt as if something deep inside the dungeon had been waiting for him all along. A strange feeling in his heart warned him that this mission would be completely different from anything he had experienced before. Moments later, the giant gate came to life. Dungeon entry accepted. A warning flashed across the glowing screen. Once you enter, there is no way back. Without fear, Zane stepped through the portal first. One by one, the other 6 hunters followed him into the darkness. None of them realized that before this dungeon was over, the weakest hunter among them would become the only reason they survived. The countdown reached 0, and the massive portal erupted with blinding blue light. Without hesitation, the 7 hunters stepped through the swirling gateway together. The instant Zane crossed the barrier, an unbearable pressure crashed down on him. It felt as though the dungeon itself had awakened and was silently judging every soul that had entered. A cold voice echoed inside his mind, but no one else seemed to hear it. His zero system quietly displayed a single warning: unknown entity detected. On the other side, an ancient underground kingdom stretched before them. Endless stone corridors were illuminated by glowing blue crystals, while forgotten statues stood frozen in eternal silence. Strange warning symbols covered the walls, radiating an unsettling aura. The others laughed, believing it was nothing more than another ordinary C-rank dungeon. But Zane's zero system immediately detected an unknown source of energy hidden deep within the ruins. With every step forward, the mysterious signal became stronger, pulling him toward something impossible. Every instinct told him they weren't alone. Without warning, Zane suddenly stopped and dropped to one knee. The ground beneath his hand cracked open as streams of dark purple energy spread through the ancient floor like living veins. The other hunters stared at him in confusion, unable to understand what was happening. Then Zane heard it. A slow, thunderous heartbeat echoing beneath the ruins. Whatever was sleeping below had sensed his presence and was beginning to awaken. Even the air around them started to vibrate with terrifying power, and the temperature inside the dungeon dropped in an instant. Guided by the mysterious signal, the party eventually reached an enormous stone gate covered with ancient dragon carvings and glowing runes. The air became so heavy that even the experienced hunters instinctively gripped their weapons. No monsters appeared, yet everyone could feel overwhelming killing intent leaking from behind the sealed entrance. Every instinct screamed that this place was far beyond the difficulty of an ordinary C-rank dungeon. Even Arya, who had faced countless battles before, couldn't hide the tension on her face. As the ancient seal slowly cracked apart, the entire chamber trembled. Brilliant blue light flooded every corner of the ruins, while the gigantic gate opened inch by inch. Behind the barrier stood the enormous silhouette of a colossal dragon, its glowing eyes piercing through the darkness. Every hunter froze in absolute terror, unable to move a single step. Their breathing stopped as the creature slowly raised its head. At that moment, Zane finally understood the truth. The Zero System had never chosen him by chance. It had guided him here from the very beginning, because his real journey was only just beginning. The moment the ancient gate slowly opened, the entire dungeon began to tremble. Blue crystals shattered one after another as an endless darkness spread across the chamber. A gigantic shadow emerged from the void, its glowing purple eyes locking onto the 7 hunters. The overwhelming pressure was so terrifying that no one could even breathe properly. Every hunter instinctively stepped back, realizing they were facing something far beyond a normal dungeon boss. Even the walls around them seemed to shake under the creature's terrifying presence. Suddenly, the Zero System flashed before Zane's eyes. Warning: unknown entity detected. Threat level impossible to calculate. The others panicked, gripping their weapons with trembling hands. But Zane stood completely still. Instead of fear, he felt an ancient power awakening inside his body. The mysterious rank 0 symbol began burning beneath his skin, growing brighter with every heartbeat, as if it had been waiting for this exact moment. The strange energy flowing through his body felt both familiar and completely unknown at the same time. Without warning, the creature unleashed a devastating wave of dark energy. The ground exploded beneath their feet, massive stone pillars collapsed, and the entire party was thrown across the chamber. Dust filled the air as painful screams echoed through the ruins. Weapons slipped from their hands, and even the strongest hunters realized they had absolutely no chance against the ancient monster. Standing before them, for the first time, everyone believed they were about to die. As everyone struggled to stand, Zane slowly walked forward alone. Purple energy surrounded his body, while glowing black markings spread across his arm. Every step echoed through the silent dungeon until he finally stopped in front of the creature and raised his hand. The mysterious symbol shined brighter than ever before, and for a brief moment the monster stopped moving. The entire dungeon fell into complete silence, as if time itself had frozen. A brilliant violet light erupted between Zane and the ancient creature. Countless system windows appeared around him, while the monster slowly lowered its head instead of attacking. Every hunter watched in complete disbelief as the impossible unfolded before their eyes. None of them could understand why such a terrifying creature had suddenly acknowledged a Rank 0 hunter. Host confirmed. Zane Vale. Rank 0. Infinite potential. One final hidden message appeared before Zane alone. The first trial has been cleared. Hidden path unlocked. The real hunt has only just begun.